Hey there, I'm Lance.
Jeremy.
And this is Hard to Master. We are looking at Rococo Deluxe Edition from Eagle-Gryphon Games.
Yeah, so basically Louis the 15th is hosting this big old ball for all the elites, and it's your job to create the biggest, most extravagant ball for them to enjoy. So you'll be doing things like setting up fireworks and making these big old elegant, luxurious garments for them to wear, as well as hiring kitchen staff, musicians, other decorations in the different halls to maximize the points by creating that luxurious ball atmosphere.
All right, so we have it set up on the table here, and we're going to go ahead and take an overhead view. And in this video, we're just going to talk about the gameplay, our thoughts on it, and maybe some strategy tips for you when you decide to play it for yourself. And so we do have everything set up here. Jeremy, what do you want to talk about first?
I think probably, so if people don't finish the video, Lance, you should just start out by telling them probably the biggest regret that you said that you didn't do, because we didn't do this initially, but we can see where it could be super important early on now.
So right off the bat, for those of you that really want to watch this video for some sort of strategy tip, my biggest takeaway from this game is the kitchen. This little area right here, it's not very big. You know, when you look at this board, you look at these halls, these hallways here, the grand rooms or whatever they're called, and that's what really takes your attention. If not that, then maybe the fireworks up top. But the kitchen, in my opinion, you cannot overlook because it is where you're going to get your income in this game. It is the easiest way to make money because everything else that you do throughout the course of the game, these two spots are going to pay you to do that. It's going to incentivize doing it all the more. And if you're doing these things first, you're missing out on getting paid to do them. So this little spot right here, the one on the left, is, let's move these out of the way. This is going to pay you for all the decorations that you do throughout the course of the game. Jeremy, you want to talk about decorations, what that's all about?
So yeah, decorations are different things. Like over here you have musicians in the corners. Your sculptures are decorations. Up here at the fireworks, getting those areas are decorations that you're going to essentially get points during or at the end of the game. But you also get income during the game. Mm-hmm. And for me, one thing, and I told you about this before, is this game makes you think by looking at it that you need to make a lot of luxurious garments for the guests to wear. And that's kind of the main idea that you would think, because most of the board is represented by the halls where you will place these garments. But to me, one thing that I'd like to do in games sometimes, and one that comes to mind for me, is viticulture. I'm not a big wine person, so making the wine in the cellars wasn't a big thing for me. I would find what else I could do on the board that would get me points and possibly help me to win, and we'll talk about our scores later. But what else around the board that I can do that's not tied to maybe the main thing that other people are going to do and focus on because of the theme. So the theme is about the ball, but the biggest thing that you see on the board throughout is the garments. So I kind of neglected that a little bit. I did less garments than y'all did.
Right.
And I focused more on decorations. Doing the musicians here in the corners slowly. But by doing that, you also work towards this 5 halls bonus.
Right.
So my strategy out the gate was not necessarily this. I was the first one to go here because I was doing the different decorations.
Right.
You were the first one to go over here because you were putting more dresses, and then I spent the additional to get there so I could double up on income, which you're going to get a base income of 5, but when you have 2 or 3, you're getting 2 or 3 more dollars, and then by the time you have 5 decorations out there, now you're getting $10, and if you've already put 4 or 5 dresses, now you're at 15
Yeah, so real quick,
Livre, not dollars.
Livre, right. Let's explain this real quick. So this box right here pays you 1 additional livre for every decoration that you do. And so as you can see, this is what our game looked like at the end. Jeremy, you've got this one over here. You've got these 2 fireworks stands up here. You've got these 2 musicians over here. This statue right here. What is that? That's
well, the statue was the last thing I did, so I never got income from it.
Sure. But if you had,
that one counts too. So
that would have been $7 more at income. So you're earning twice. You're almost earning 2.5 times more than what somebody did if they didn't do any of that. And this spot right here gives you an extra livre for each dress you have on the board. And that was more my strategy. And our other friend Eric, who was playing this with us, was to just go garments and do the dresses, do the coats or whatever it's called for the gentlemen, and really mass produce that, get that out there, and try to make money off of that. And so you can go either one of these 2 ways and get extra income by doing that. I would just really recommend making sure to get one of these 2 spots early in the game, because the longer you wait, the less money you're going to make from it.
Yeah, I think I got this one either in the 2nd or 3rd round. You got one the next round, and then I got one more. I think it was 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
By the 4th round, I had both of them. So for rounds 4, 5, 6, or 5, 6, and 7, I was getting...
You're getting a lot of money.
Double income,
yeah.
I mean, y'all had a lot of money. That was the only time I could really get money at that point, because I was spending so much money on the decorations.
So you might be asking, well, what do I need all this money for? Why is it so important that I need more than that $5 that you automatically get every round?
Livre.
Or livre, not dollar, excuse me. And I would say that probably the most important thing that you use your livre for is going to be on this bottom line right here. And that's either purchasing more workers that allow you to have additional actions in a round. We'll come back to that in a minute. But also getting your material that you need to be able to do these dresses down here. The material is not expensive, but you're going to be coming there so often throughout the course of the game that you're going to be spending a lot of money there. By the end of the game.
I think it depends on strategy and how you're like, because you're from the get-go, your cards, the way you were utilizing them was more efficiently on the fabrics. And so as you were doing that for the silk or the thread or the lace, you had several pieces of
I had
silk
a good stockpile on resources.
I'd only have one at a time. And so, again, spending your money is going to depend, because I spent the majority of my money on decorations, but that's what's going, or cards. I mean, usually I was the first one to take a card, so I would spend more money on cards, but y'all would spend more money over here. I don't think I spent more than 2 coins on a garment.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a fault. And my gameplay in this game is I probably did go too heavy into the dresses, should have diversified more. I wish I would have come over to this section more often and not have been afraid to be the first one to come here and take what I want. The way this section works, if you're not familiar, and really this is how all the sections work, if you're the first person to come and buy something from this section, you're going to pay the most for it because you have all the options available to you. It's 5 livre if you are the first one to buy anything here. And then once you've bought one from it, then it's going to be 3. Once someone else has bought something, then it's just 1. And then the last one's free. But of course, the last one is the one no one wants. And so...
well, the problem also is you can only go here with a master worker. Yeah. So... if you didn't have a master worker or tailor or whatever you want to call him, then you can't go there. So at one point in the game, I went there 3 times because no one else was taking it. I had 2 gold guys, so I would play a gold, pick up a gold. So I picked up a gold,
right,
which means I have them in my hand now, so I can play them. So I have an additional card. Went around, nobody took it, played a gold, grabbed a gold.
Yep.
And I think, depending on how you do that, I mean, I took 3 cards and they were all gold that round. And the only one that I didn't take was
the Browns.
Was the Apprentice,
Yeah.
and I think somebody else had picked him up.
Yeah, I think that's a really good strategy that you have to deploy more than once throughout the course of the game. I wouldn't suggest coming here every round because a lot of these cards aren't great, especially in the beginning rounds. They're not great, and it's gonna clog your deck up. It's gonna make it so that you're gonna have to play lots of cards that aren't beneficial to you before you can get back to the cards that are good for you. So don't spend your early rounds in this part, but definitely towards the end of the game, you want to come here and don't be afraid to be the first to come here, especially if you played your earlier rounds right, got your income so that you can pay the $5 livre to be the first one to take what you need so that you can keep taking from here. And if I didn't already mention it before, and we haven't said it enough, when you take a person from here, that essentially gives you another action to take through that round because you have another card in hand. And instead of, I play one and I can take one, and so instead of being down to 2, I've replenished. I'm back at 3 again, and that keeps me alive to be able to do more actions. I think that's something you really have to do in the later rounds of the game.
And one thing to remember is, I mean, you're going to know which cards are coming up. So this is how you keep track of the game when these cards are out, the 7th round, and you finish. But you'll see in the corner here that it tells you you stack them. So you're going to have, I think, about 6 cards in the one stack, 4 in the 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to have 6 in the level 6. And so there's a chart in the rule book where you can see, or even on the player aid, where you can see in which zone what type of cards are going to come out with the iconography, and you can kind of plan, hey, these cards aren't as good as the next round. That's what I did. These cards aren't as good, so I'm going to wait till the next round. And then as you see them, normally I'd only take 1, but that one round I saw the option to take 3 golds and get the bonuses on each of them, and it was a kill. I mean, it was a major turn. It was a huge turn.
I think there's something to be said that the more familiar you are with these cards, the better you're going to do in this game. Because you can be aware of that and you can know, all right, this is the round that I probably shouldn't take any of the cards and really stockpile my money so that I can get them next round. I think that's probably something to be said.
But going back to, so we talked about the cards, we talked about this area here, and we had hinted on this. So earlier I told you that one of my main things was how to be the first person all 5 halls to get this maximized 6 points, to being the first person to do that. So I did a dress here, I did a decoration over there, did a decoration over here, dress over there, and dress over here. By doing that, I was the first one to be in all 5 halls, and y'all were, I think, 3 halls. Y'all were only in 2 halls.
Yeah.
Place this. You had the chance to do it early, but I noticed, but you had waited on the last hall over there to do other stuff and get it, and you did get that because Eric was not focused on. He was focused on maximizing these golds, and it's important that the gold ones are good because they can win the majority for you. So, like right here, because I was thinking about doing another dress, but since Eric had 2 of the gold master spots here, he would have won majority. The only way that the decoration comes into play is if this was tied. So like right here, if I had a blue and he had this and this one wasn't here, then we would tie. We'd look at the decoration. And that's going to give you in-game points for first or second place.
Right.
And so that can come into play too. That was Eric's strategy, was I'm going to get dresses. I'm going to get majority in some of these big zones. But by doing that, he did neglect a couple different areas of the board. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely the hardest thing I think about this game is, and I was talking to Robert about it, and he was reminded when I was talking about the score, and it is kind of difficult when you're looking at the table to see where everybody's score is and calculate. And he was reminded of Scythe, how you can see maybe their coins, but there's a lot going on the board, and depending on how they do those last few turns, it can definitely ramp up quite a bit. And I mean, you can see where people are going and what they're doing, and I could see which strategies you were doing. I could see what Eric was doing. Y'all were both heavy on the garment side. So I had to base off all my little 2s and 3s and 4s, and did I have majority here and there? It's a tough one to really gauge. I didn't think, and so we'll talk about score real quick. I did not think that there was a 19-point jump between you and me. I felt like possibly it would have been either one of us.
Yeah.
2 or 3 points
it's
until
funny
the
you
end.
say that. It's funny you say that because in my mind, as I was playing the last few rounds, I'm thinking, I'm dead in the water. I'm not even going to get off this side of the board. And I think that's something to be said for not hidden scoring with this game, but it's more so most of the points are in-game points. And so...
Yeah, you had the most points at like 8 or 9 during the game. I was, I think, at 3 to 5, and Eric was at 1 or 2, and it all ramped up. But I knew, I just had to focus on. I didn't calculate all my points, but I felt like we were real close until round 6 or 7. Yeah, and then I felt like I had taken a lead, but nowhere did I think it'd be almost 20 points. I felt like maybe 5 to 8 point swing. That's what I think.
Not to come back to these cards, but I think that was my fatal flaw, was that I got cards mid-game and then fell back from doing that in the later rounds, and that's what really bit me because I ran out of actions in round 6. I was the first one to run out of actions. I only had 3, the 3 you have in your hand, and both you guys had, you had 5, Eric had 4, and you guys were able to kind of do a lot more in that round to set you up for round 7.
And that just goes back to those cards. I had seen that. I thought y'all were going to grab, at least one of them. No one did. I paid, 9 coins?
You actually had 6 actions that round.
Yeah, I took 3. Yeah. So, it can be important. One thing we haven't talked about, though, is first player. How important is first player in this game? I was only first player, I think, one time, and that was when I wanted to get the cards. Right. That was the first time I think I went as first player.
I do think one thing that you might try and consider, I didn't get to really do this, it might be a good idea, is that if you are going cards and you get those extra actions, it might help you to replace an action that you're using to get the first player token. Because that's all you do when you get the first player token. You get money.
And y'all would always play this one. You and Eric would both play the 2 coins.
Yeah.
So you would get 7 coins and first player. And
first player, nice move.
First player can be important, but I felt, because I was going to grab it one time that you took it, and after that I just made a different move. I took it one time only, and that was because there was a card I wanted.
Yeah.
And, picking the right cards, this card right here, so we'll go back to cards for just a second, but these blue ones are in-game cards, and this card was out there. So the more cards that you get, the more beneficial it is. There is a card also that you can play for a bonus where you get coins during the game every time you play that. But this was a very important card that I gotten because I knew that I had 9. I got 10 cards, couldn't get the 11th, but it was fine because that still got me 8 points. There's this card and there's another one that's -5. So with this Journeyman, I could go do an action that allows it, so anything but over here. And after doing that, I can get I can do a decoration action for 10 less. I think I did that 2 or 3 times. So at least 2, I think 2 times.
If you're going to go decorations, you have to get this
I got both of them.
Yeah, there's another one in an earlier round, and I think there's one that's like -5 or something like that.
That's it. There's one that's -5 and then -10.
Yeah,
I got them
you
both.
have to get both those cards if you are going to be going the decoration route.
And it helps right here with 22.
Yeah.
And it helps right there with 30.
With 30, right. Yeah. And if you're going to go the dresses route, while it didn't work for me, you do want to make sure.
You had several that were giving you points off dresses.
You want to make sure to get, I don't see where they are right now, but there are cards that essentially give you points for if you have pairs of dresses. For every pair of dresses, you'll get 2 points, or there's for every 3 dresses, you'll get a point or something like that. You'll want to make sure to get those cards. You also probably want to try to get cards too that help you not have to spend as much resources because you can put out more dresses that way. So there's definite ways to develop an engine through the cards that you wanna make sure and pick and choose your cards wisely to really maximize your engine to the best of your abilities. So one other thing real quick let's talk about is this area right here, because in my mind, I
blocked you out.
When I was coming to this, I was thinking, okay, this is a very important part of the board. I want to make sure to get one of these, which means you have to make sure to get dresses in this area first. And I think I was one of the first ones to put a dress here, and I was the first one to claim one of these little fireworks stands. And I knew, okay, I've got one down, but as soon as I got this, it was bam, 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 bam. And I couldn't afford this one.
No, I went straight on this one first. That's the
true,
first one I got. I got that one later. But what hurt was there was one spot open here.
I didn't get dresses.
Eric had 3 dresses. You had that one that you placed. You started doing this stuff late, and I was before you and took this so that I could do a second one up there. So that was important because that took 8 points away from you.
One thing I think would just be very beneficial to know going into this game is how quickly these can fill up. And if you don't get 2 dresses in here, you might be in some trouble. Because if you're only giving yourself one of these boxes up here, it's going to limit you in in-game points. And so you really want to try to get 2. None of us got 3, but if you can get 3, that's even better, obviously. But I feel like you definitely have to have 2 of those little fireworks stands to.
I mean, I don't think you have to, but it does benefit. I mean, because even if I didn't have this one here, I mean, that's essentially, say that's not even on the board. That's 2 points I take off, plus 4 points, that's 6 points, 7, that's 8 points. I mean, I don't think you have to, depending on what else you're doing. But I think that it is very beneficial if you can get 2 of these. And this is a 1 to 3 player side of the board. I'm betting that there's at least 1 more spot, maybe 2 for a 4 to 5 player board. But I would say this is important, getting at least 1 or 2 dresses here, spreading out using the decorations and the dresses, because the decorations you just pay money. With the other stuff, you have to pay money. You're doing multiple workers or cards being played to do that. Y'all did a much better strategy being stocked up on silk than I did. I would have 1. I think at one point I had 2. I did not have much silk. But then again, like I said, my strategy was, can I win this game by not doing the main focus of the game?
And you can.
And it's not like I just set out to do that. It's kind of a subliminal thing that I've noticed that I do sometimes. And that's what I did. And you can win, you can differentiate. You do have to look at certain things and maximize those in-game points, like I tell you. But just getting enough to get a small minority or majority in all these, that's a little, 1 and 2 points here and there that all add up. And it's very important, especially when you don't know the in-game scoring.
Right.
You have a good idea, but you don't know exactly. So getting as many little 1 and 2 point.
Right.
And another thing is coins. So your lever coins, every 10 is a point. So whereas at one point I was like, oh, I got this perfectly planned out where I can get another point. And at first you didn't know what I was talking about. And instead of going to the 25, I went to the 30. Why would I do that? Because it's a 5-point swing or 5-coin swing to another point. So I basically did half the coins to get that 1 additional point, which when I did income after that would have just enough to get to that 10. So I mean, little bitty things like that. And then which one of these, so some of these will have different resources and coins that you can get, which can be very important, and that's why sometimes you'll place them. A lot of times you'll want to place on one of these spots that's already taken, or like right over here, you don't have that worker because you spin them over here. A lot of different options. So when we first started playing this, the rules are actually really easy to get going.
Yeah.
And as you play, it's like, I don't know, how this is going to go, but as we went, we started doing different things, and there are quite a few things you do need to think about. So I would think that it would be a little hard to master, more than the love to hate stream, but it's still not a difficult game to learn.
Not at all. The reason why I think I would say that this is a game I would not recommend playing with non-gamers is because, and this is what really, for me, sets this game apart from a lot of other games, is how much you're having to just store away in the back of your mind and say to yourself, okay, if I do this here, I know I'll get 4 points. And if I do that there, I know I'll get 3 points. And it's just, you know, you have to keep up with it. And all of that changes once the other players start taking their turns. And because you're not keeping track of points as the game goes, the game's not keeping that tracked for you. You're having to do that in your own mind before it all plays out on the board. It's kind of like, only way I can kind of put this in any other way, it's kind of like playing a chess match, Queen's Gambit, all in your mind before it ever actually takes place on the board.
I told you I do those things. So
I don't do that very well. And I would just imagine that would probably be something for a new non-gamer that is just thinking overload and kind of will just kind of burn their brain out, which can even do so for someone who's, you know, a very avid gamer. But this is a great game. To kind of get into my thoughts on this real quick, I loved it. I thought this was a fantastic game. It's one that I want to keep playing at because it gives you that feeling that you can master this, that you can get better at it, like chess. You know, like when you play chess, you feel like, oh, I could have done some things different there. I know what I did wrong. I can do these things different and get a better result. You know, and I think the mechanics work well with the idea behind the game of trying to kind of keep things, again, not hidden, but just not totally played out until the end by placing the dresses and trying to get a majority and doing the decorations. I think it all works great. What do you think?
Yeah. I enjoyed it. It is a remake or a redesign, or not redesign, just reproduced game, that they took and they've deluxeified it. I like to have deluxe pieces on the board. It looks great. I know a lot of reviews right now are saying, well, I didn't need all this, didn't need all that, but I do enjoy. You know, cardboard coins are my biggest pet peeve. So if it's got that and then realistic resources like scythes and stuff, it definitely makes me enjoy the game much better. One thing we didn't say about real quick is the cards. There's going to be a time that sucks when you look at your cards and you've already played 3, so you have to take the 2, and then you can move them over and take 1. And that sucks several times in the game. You're going to have that happen. It's fine. Get through that round and just use the cards again. The more cards you get, the more choices you have, but as you use them, these cards will still be there unless you depute them and get the coins.
Yeah.
Do not depute all of your masters. It says that in the rule book. That would be horrible for you, but you can do 1. You can get rid of 1, replace them with something else.
Yeah.
It makes the cards be a little bit more freed up, and you
need
can
the
use
masters.
them.
But I agree with you. It's not a bad
You don't
idea
need all
to
masters,
get
though.
rid of 1. I mean, it's 10 livre.
10 livre, and it frees up so you can gain, instead of having those 2 cards you got to pull, you just have one, and one's going to be your master with the bonus. So you need to do that. But I really enjoyed the game more than I thought I would. I thought I would just like it because it's Eagle-Gryphon. It's upgraded production. I actually did not buy back this on the pre-order. I actually wanted to. I looked at buying it several times. Guy in the game group posted it, and I jumped on it really quickly. And within a minute, sometimes I get lucky when he posts, and scooped it up. And I'm glad that I did. I have just enough room on the shelf for this one. It will be here for a while. There are expansions to it that come within the deluxe box. We won't grab them out, but there's another sideboard over here that's going to be with the jewelry expansion, where you're going to have some different cards and different cards that come out. But in addition to that, as you do certain actions, once you do all of them and place your tokens there momentarily, you will get them back. Then you would get a big bonus action where you're going to get a point, 5 livre, and then to do something else. Then you'll move up to the top region where a master journeyman is going to work, and do a similar thing. Once that's done, the good news is it goes back to the bottom, so you can work on that again. So you're getting these additional bonuses. There will be jewelry tokens that you could do, rings and necklaces that you can provide to your different luxurious guests, and basically get benefits during income and other things. There are some fancy dresses which increase the point value, but they do require additional silk or resources. In addition to that, there's some other tiles that deal with, again, the jewelry expansion. And so there's a lot of different things that you can, or different, if you need to switch it up, you could break those expansions or modules out to switch it up a little bit. There is a solo mode. I will probably not play it just because I don't really solo anymore. You would probably try it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the board. I like the fireworks, really. I like the fireworks. I like the tokens.
I love
It's got metal coins with my copy, and that means a lot to me. So yeah, I've already sleeved it. Sleeves are, I believe, standard size sleeves. It doesn't really fit in the box as well. There's a couple things that don't fit in the box very well, which minor complaints. This token, which she replaces this tile, but I just let her watch the fireworks. But in the box, if she's on that, for some reason my insert does not allow the tile to go over, so it goes somewhere else. Minor complaint, not anything too crazy. And then the sleeves, if you sleeve your cards, and where, depending on where you put the additional tiles, because there are quite a few additional piles, enough to swap out, then you're going to run out of space for the sleeve cards, and that's fine. I just took my unsleeved solo cards that I won't use, placed them under the where the player mat and the Scrabble looking white plastic tile holder goes. I just placed them under them since I'm not going to use them, to allow more room for the sleeve cards, but just minor complaints. Other than that, again, great production. I enjoyed the game a lot more than I thought it would be, because I was hearing, oh, this is just, this is just going to be like a 90-minute, 2-hour game. And it was probably about 2 hours once we got going.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
For 3 players the first time. But it wasn't like a 2-hour game where I felt like I wasn't challenged, didn't have to think of stuff. Again, not knowing the final outcome as we go, I just had to hope that I had enough points.
Yeah.
I, again, felt like it was tighter than it was. Not as tight as our last game to Kinyu, because we could kind of see more and calculate more points of what people were doing. But the hidden in-game score, kind of, depending on your cards, because this card alone gave me 8 points, and then I had another one that gave me another 6 points.
16-point swing there.
And so, we talked about it. You grabbed a different card and got, 8 points. So it was really a wash.
If you miss out on that card, it's a big swing for you.
But not knowing that in-game score and how far away you are, because I felt like we were closer than that.
Yeah, just real quick, I'll throw this out there. I know this is getting kind of long, but I do think, because you cannot see the scoring for the most part, that it is going to increase the AP a little bit in this game, because you're going to be weighing out all the different options on just about, I wouldn't say every single turn.
Well, the AP really comes from your cards, because you have to draw those 3 cards. And that you had one of those moments.
Right,
and
I did.
Again, if someone has one of those moments randomly, I'm okay with it. If it's every time, it's not a game for you. Lance had that moment where he was, hold on, guys. Oh, no.
Because you got to be working.
You have to pick those 3 cards early, and if someone takes where you want to go, and you don't have a silver journeyman,
you're done.
You can't go here.
Yeah.
If you don't play them in the right order, which is very key to go to the certain spots, it ain't gonna matter. If you're waiting for someone to take this first card and you don't have that, and use that gold guy to do a gold
Master
garment,
dress,
guess what? Can't use them over here. They just took all the cards you wanted. So it's very important to pick those cards. It's very tough at times, especially when you have the crap from the hand before. Get through it. Go to the next one.
Yeah.
It's okay, though, if you have one time where you're spending a few extra minutes. It can mean certain points. So I'm okay with that. I mean, without that, Eric might have beaten you.
He could have.
I mean, you can see one turn. So if you didn't plan that out right, so I'll give it to you. It's fine. It's okay. I have those moments too. All right, guys and ladies, that was Rococo Deluxe by Eagle-Gryphon Games. We didn't do a how-to play video because there's some really good ones out there. I don't want to name names to draw any attention if they don't want any, but YouTube does have some very good videos on how to play. It's what we used to get this set up before we played it, so check that out.
Yeah, and I would encourage you guys to go out there and get a copy for yourself, whether it's this deluxe edition, this beautiful, or just the regular old edition, whatever you want to do. Rococo's an awesome game. Try it out, especially after you watch our video and maybe implement some of the strategy tips that we gave you guys.
Yeah, and remember, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that eye in the corner, probably take you to Kenyu or some other video that we have either on Hard to Master or Love to Hate.
Yeah.
But this one was Hard to Master. We'll see you next time.